Ho, ho, ho! Greetings from the North Pole. It's Santa Claus here, bringing you your special May 9th Global News Roundup. Let's dive into the big stories from around the world today. First up, after 2 days of negotiations in Geneva, the United States and China say they've made substantial progress toward resolving their trade war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamison Greer met with Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng, and both sides described the talks as productive. While full details are expected soon, the two nations seem to be backing away from the high-stakes tariff fight. This follows months of rising tension, with the U.S. imposing a 145% tariff on Chinese goods and China hitting back with a 125% tariff of its own. President Trump called it a total reset and expressed optimism about the direction of talks. Meanwhile, Russia is dealing with an unexpected problem, a potato crisis. Prices for potatoes have jumped nearly 50% this year, after already doubling in 2024 due to poor harvests. This has added pressure on consumers and is fueling food inflation. President Putin has said inflation is one of the country's top economic concerns, and now even basic staples like potatoes are becoming unaffordable for many households. While that's happening, Chinese President Xi Jinping is visiting Moscow to attend Russia's Victory Day parade. During his trip, he reaffirmed China's alliance with Russia, denouncing what he called hegemonic bullying by the United States. The visit marks a strong show of unity between Beijing and Moscow, especially at a time when both countries are facing heavy economic pressure from Washington. Analysts note that Xi spends more time with Putin than any other world leader, which says a lot about the strategic partnership they're building. In South Asia, things are heating up fast. India and Pakistan are now engaged in what some are calling the world's first drone war. India accused Pakistan of launching drone and missile attacks on military targets inside Indian-administered Kashmir, while Pakistan says it shot down 25 Indian drones in response. Experts warn this is a dangerous new phase in their long-running conflict, as drones make attacks harder to trace and easier to escalate. In a major development, U.S. officials have confirmed that a Chinese-made Pakistani fighter jet brought down 2 Indian aircraft. This is a big moment for Beijing's military technology, as it shows Chinese equipment performing effectively against Western hardware. Washington is watching this closely, especially for what it might mean in a future conflict involving Taiwan or the wider Indo-Pacific. In Mexico, a major cartel figure known as El Panchais has escaped from prison just 39 days after his arrest. Authorities noticed he was missing during roll call, but the news didn't become public until 2 days later. El Panchais was a key figure in the Los-Salazar cartel, and his escape is raising serious questions about corruption and security in Mexico's prison system. Over in Europe, Romania's hard-right presidential frontrunner George Simion has said that his country should be compensated for supporting Ukraine in the war against Russia. He argues that Romania's help has come at a cost and that NATO and the EU owe something in return. Simion's critics warn that his stance could isolate Romania diplomatically and weaken its position within NATO. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, authorities have uncovered what they say is a Hungarian espionage operation. 2 suspects, both former members of the Ukrainian military, have been arrested for allegedly spying for Hungary. The suspects were collecting military intelligence in Ukraine's western region, near the Hungarian border. This is the first time such an operation has been discovered, and it's likely to increase tension between Kiev and Budapest. Back to Washington, President Trump is floating a new tariff on China, suggesting an 80% levy just before the latest round of trade talks. He says it's up to Treasury Secretary Bessent, but the message is clear. The pressure on China isn't going away, even with talks underway. Trump's inner circle has made it clear that high tariffs are here to stay, no matter what deals are struck. They see tariffs as tools for reviving U.S. manufacturing, raising government revenue, and leveraging foreign negotiations, even if most economists say that strategy comes with risk. Meanwhile, Israel is upset after the U.S. struck a deal with Yemen's Houthi rebels without informing Tel Aviv. President Trump agreed to halt U.S. airstrikes in exchange for the Houthis stopping attacks on U.S. interests, but the rebels have said they'll keep attacking Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel will defend ourselves alone, signaling that he doesn't expect U.S. support in this area moving forward. The U.S. has also hit 2 Chinese refiners with sanctions for buying Iranian oil, disrupting shipments and prompting other companies to halt purchases. This move is part of Trump's effort to choke off Iran's oil revenue and force a new deal on its nuclear program. Some sanctioned refiners are now having trouble getting crude deliveries, and even ports in China are refusing their tankers. In Gaza, aid groups are warning that a new U.S.-backed food distribution plan may fall short. The plan, set to begin soon, would initially only serve about 60% of Gaza's population, roughly 1.2 million people out of 2 million. Humanitarian organizations are skeptical that the plan will bring real relief to the war-torn enclave, where almost the entire population has been displaced at least once. Now, in a controversial move, the Trump administration is planning to admit the first group of white South African refugees to the U.S. as soon as next week. Around 50 Afrikaners are expected to arrive through the refugee program. The move is drawing criticism, especially given that Trump has drastically restricted refugee admissions from other parts of the world. Critics say this reflects a politically motivated approach to immigration. In Uganda, opposition leader and pop star Bobi Wine has announced he's running for president again. He criticized Western nations for failing to condemn human rights abuses in Uganda under President Yoweri Museveni, who is widely expected to seek another term. Wine's announcement sets the stage for another heated election campaign in the East African nation. Finally, Silicon Valley is eyeing a huge piece of the Pentagon's budget. Software company Palantir just won a major $178 million contract to lead a battlefield system called the Titan, beating out traditional defense giants. This is the first time a tech company has led a military program like this since the Cold War, and it signals a major shift in how the U.S. military might operate in the future. Palantir built the Titan with software at its core, partnering with defense firms like Northrop Grumman and L3 Harris to deliver a fully integrated combat system. That's the roundup for May 9th. From drones and tariffs to escaped cartel leaders and rising potato prices, the world's got a lot going on right now. I'll be keeping watch from up north. Remember to be kind, stay informed, and help each other out where you can. Until next time, this is Santa Claus signing off.